What's going on, guys? It's Tyler with TD Gaming here to bring you another Bloons Tower Defense 6 video. So, I already did upload this video maybe about a week ago or so. I did respond to a comment saying that I would like to do a voiceover for this one in particular because this was a really hard challenge, and definitely think I could provide a pretty good insight into what I did, why I did it, also kind of explain the rules and stuff. So, as you can guess by the title, it is how far can Churchill go while getting every single pop available. So what I mean by that is it's exactly what I said, really. Churchill is the only monkey tower that can get pops, and I want to see how far he can go while popping every single balloon that appears. So in that sense, glue gunners are allowed as long as I don't go corrosive glue or super glue. Super glue will actually deal damage to anything that it glues, so it does nullify the challenge, so I have to avoid getting that upgrade. Engineer, I allowed myself to put one. Later on, I'm going to put it in a very specific spot where it actually won't get any pops. I am going to use it for the Ultra Boost because, again, I can buff Churchill any way that I want. Glue is a buff for Churchill, obviously. It slows him down and lets the balloon stand the check longer so that he can pop them faster and more volume, all that stuff. I don't really, it's not cheating because the glue gunner isn't getting any pops, and if you've seen my Sauda video, I am planning on using glue gunner for everybody, every single hero. Eventually, I would want to see how far a single tower can get as well. You know, maybe one sniper, one whatever. So glue gunner doesn't do damage. I do allow it. It just, you know, it buffs Churchill in its own way, right? So my idea for this is obviously I want Churchill to get all the pops, but I also want to play this like naturally and organically, and I want to actually, you know, farm. A lot of people will start the heroes off at around 100. You know, they'll give it a Sun Temple boost, a Perma Brew. It'll give it like it'll give it Monkey Knowledge. I'm sorry, Monkey Intelligence Bureau. It'll give it Homeland Defense, Ultra Boost, all that stuff by around 100. Any other boosted, maybe an Energizer too, for the ability cooldown. It'll give it all those boosts at level 100, and then they'll start at around 100. Let's see how far they can get. I think it makes more sense to start organically at round 1, because realistically, right, by round 100, you will not have most of those things. And on top of that, Energizer, Sun Temple, Engineer, depending on where you put them, will also contribute to the pop count, and I don't want that. So I wanted to focus on towers that can buff Churchill, like the ones I have, the Glue Gunner, the Engineer, and the Village. They'll buff him without stealing any of the glory, and no pops, nothing like that. Again, as long as I'm careful with my Glue Gunner. I did, if you look later on when I'm putting down farms and stuff, you'll see that I actually blocked off all the damaging paths. I did forget to do that with the Glue Gunner. I believe I allowed corrosive glue and super glue, which is wrong, but I don't actually choose those upgrades in this at all. So it's not like they actually, you know, backfired or anything like that. I did allow myself to use the marketplace banana farm just because it's less work for me, right? I don't have to constantly worry about collecting them all the time. They do generate lives. Again, this is a challenge to see how far he can get while popping every single balloon. This isn't a one life challenge per se, it's just him doing it on his own. So I do allow the marketplace to collect lives. I do allow the monkey knowledge. They're all going to have benefits from the same monkey knowledges, 10% experience growth. I just wanted to start at round 1 just to see how far they could get with me actually having a farm and playing ahead with glue gunners, engineers, villages, stuff like that. Another strategy you're going to see me pull out is putting down villages all over the map with regrow blockers, just so that the regens aren't an issue. I also did the same thing with Sauda. Again, it's something that I plan on doing for every single hero, every single tower I do this challenge with, so it's fair as long as it's consistently across the board for everyone, right? Everybody's going to have access to the marketplaces, generating lives. I think I'm going to stick with just putting down 6 banana farms for everybody just to keep it more consistent. Because, for example, Churchill and Sauda, the first 2 that came to my head, are very powerful when you place them down right away. So, I think it would be against the spirit of the challenge if I reduced the banana farms, or if I put down a ton of banana farms because of how good they are early game compared to other towers like Ezili that are much better late game. it's kind of unfair in that sense, knowing that Churchill and Sauda allow you to get a very early banana farm and really focus on that, knowing that they can handle the early rounds amazingly. So we're going to limit ourselves to 6 banana farms, 6 marketplaces. We're going to get ourselves an Ultra Boost. We're going to put down glue gunners. We're going to go for Glue Storm and a lot of Relentless Glues to really slow them down. Overall, this challenge went significantly better than I thought it would. I did not think for a second that he was going to get as far as he did. If you haven't watched the original video is up. I posted it about a week ago. It doesn't have any commentary. It just has the gameplay. I don't really want to take away from that. I didn't really want to delete the old video either and re-upload this. I kind of just figured it'd be better maybe to upload a new video entirely with the commentary. This way, if you're a silent type, like when I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep watching videos, I do prefer no commentary, just gameplay. It's more relaxing like that. So I will leave the original up, but this one is primarily, the only difference is the commentary, right? It's going to be about an hour of commentary on my part, hour and a half. But yeah, as you can see, Churchill is doing, as soon as he gets the machine gun, he puts in a lot of good work. Black balloons are actually obviously an issue as soon as they come because of no machine gun, but the machine gun nullifies that. His ability actually nullifies it as well, like you saw in that round when they were introduced. But besides that, he really is, like, no pun intended, he really is a tank. He just takes care of everything on his own. No issues, nothing. You do have to time out the ability here and there. It does help because it has so much pierce and it fires in a straight line, especially on a map like Logs. You can use that to hit multiple rows of balloons at once if you're timing it properly. As you can see, that's definitely a benefit going forward. It's something that I do try to plan around as best as I can. Especially when he gets his level 10 ability, that puts in work as well. As you can see, some balloons are getting through, but this isn't a one life challenge per se. That doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like that would really roadblock a lot of the other heroes that are not so good early game and get their strengths later in the game, like maybe like Oben and Sai. Not really fair to do one life. The same thing. Also, I'm obviously not going to do this challenge with Ben. Maybe I'll put up a challenge with Ben, but it's going to be like a 1-minute video and he's going to lose around like 6, which I think it'd be pretty funny to watch, but not really much benefit to it. But, so now we're on round 40. We're tackling the Moab. He tackles the Moab before it even gets halfway through the map, which is very nice. Ends up stopping it completely. Easy. Churchill is literally just a powerhouse. That's his thing. Doesn't buff anybody, just buffs himself, which is perfectly fine for a solo challenge, right? So I'm going to, going forward, especially rounds like this that have a lot of spaced out balloons, a lot of stronger balloons, faster balloons, just a lot of balloons in general, I am going to have to time the barrage ability, the shell ability, better timing, just so I can try to hit more rows of balloons at once. I'm not really sure how many times it explodes currently, but we're also going to start working on glue gunners pretty soon. We're going to start working on getting myself a Monkey Intelligence Bureau, just so that the zebras and black balloons can get popped a little bit quicker. It's a little bit of a pain relying on the machine gun. Machine gun only hits one balloon, so having to have it pop a zebra or a black balloon before it can actually damage it is definitely a pain, compared to just having the missiles that hit multiple balloons popping them. But yeah, as you can see, round 45, he's got jungle drums on him now. Again, it's a buff that doesn't do any damage to any balloons, so there's no harm. Just put in work. Missiles, obviously, exploding as many times as they do, it's nice for hitting multiple rows of balloons at once, which is really the idea here with him, because that's, as the game progresses, your pierce is really what starts to catch up to you. That's why rounds like 76, 78 are very tough, just because of the amount of balloons they put on one spot. Really not many challenges. 49, maybe a challenge. I haven't watched this video since I uploaded it, so I don't remember every single thing that I did, which will make the voiceover a little bit more, unplanned, which will make it more on the spot. I'm assuming for 49, I would just spam the shell ability from the ceramic spawn. That's what I would do now, so I'm assuming that's what I did before. But as you can see, there's really no issues at all. Not with these rounds, anyway. I also did this challenge in a challenge editor, and I have it set to 140. 140 will be my goal for every single hero that I use, and every tower, I guess. If you can beat a fortified bad, that's when you're basically certified G. That's when you know the hero is powerful. That's when you know that your strategy's working. If you can beat the fortified bad. And ideally, I would want to get to that point with all the heroes. Maybe I'm going to have to add in permabrews and maybe stray from my rule set right now to see how much further they can actually get. It's not like Alchemist itself really does many pops, or Energizer really doesn't help late game anyway. And if proven through this, you know how far Churchill can get on his own, so using an Energizer and having it pop, you know, around 60 balloons or 65 or whatever, really isn't making that much of a difference, knowing he can already get through that, if that makes sense. But now we're going to start getting our Relentless Glue going. Nice fast fire rate. It basically holds them in place. It's nice. It also has an added ability where glued balloons like that will pop, but they won't do damage, but they will knock back other balloons next to it. I honestly did not know that before I did my Sauda challenge, because they're always making updates in this game, and I don't really pay too much attention to the updates. I kind of just find it out as I'm playing, if there are any updates, which is nice. So that was pretty cool. I didn't really plan for that, but it's definitely helpful, and it's still in the spirit of my challenge where, you know, they're not doing any damage. If I upgraded them to super glue, then they'd be doing damage, and that's not right. Not right at all. So, just a little bit pause there. I think something popped up on my phone that I had to get rid of real quick. But, yeah, so now we're on 53. As you can see, Moab's not really too big of an issue. When they start coming in bigger groups, they are kind of an issue. But especially when his shells can pop multiple balloons multiple times, it's less of an issue. But another thing to note about Churchill, compared to like Sauda or eventually Etienne and all them, he does level up very, very slow. I believe round 20, he's maybe like level 15, 16, if I remember correctly. Especially on like logs, it's, you know, if you didn't know, heroes do level up faster if you play on harder maps or harder difficulties. So, I'm playing on standard hard mode. Didn't really see the point in playing impossible, impoppable. It's still the same thing. It's not really going to be much more of an issue. The only difference here is I did have to give myself enough starting money to get Churchill. Otherwise, again, it goes against the spirit of the challenge. It doesn't really make sense to have other towers popping balloons until I can afford Churchill. Doesn't make sense. That defeats the purpose of it. Obviously, if I can get by rounds 1 through 5 or whatever I need to with engineers, I'm not really too worried about that. But I did want a challenge where he'd be able to get all the pops. I didn't really think it would make too much of a difference if I just started it on round 6 or 10 or whatever with the proportionate amount of money just so I can put down Churchill. You know, round 1, it's whatever. He levels up slow enough anyway. And in a challenge like this, I'm obviously going to put down monkey farms as quickly as much as possible to make as much money so I can get all my buffs. So really, I'm gonna power level Churchill regardless. So by around 100, he should be level 20 if I played this the way I think I did. Even with them being grouped together like that, it's still not much of an issue. And you can really see how good super glue is and how much it slows them all down. It's actually pretty ridiculous in my opinion. I think Churchill is honestly a little bit too powerful for what he can do. I don't really know how much the glue gunners are helping at this point. I mean, they are slowing him down pretty good. The attack speed helps. The only issue with the path that my glue gunners are at, they're at glue splatter and relentless glue, is that once you pop that first layer, they're not glued anymore. I am going to fix that later on. Not by that. So I actually found out, too, I got myself a glue storm glue gunner. So if you don't know, balloons that are glued during a glue storm do take extra damage from all attacks. And then putting glue soak so that all the layers are glued helps them do significant more damage. But I also found out that the relentless glue will overshadow the regular yellow glue. So the idea was that the glue storm would glue everything on the screen with yellow glue, slowing them down. And then my relentless glue gunners would just glue all of the already slowed balloons with the purple glue to slow them down even more. Which isn't, again, it's something that I found out through the Sauda playthrough, that it's very beneficial when you're playing like that. I didn't even know that. But it does help to have a stronger glue on top of balloons that are already slowed by glue. Not to mention the extra damage they take it's also beneficial. And if I'm ever having an issue where there's too many balloons and they can't keep up, I can just glue them all at once. And deal extra damage to them, which is perfect. So, glue gunners definitely have a lot of utilization to them. They're not my first go-to tower. Especially, it's wasting money on a tower that really won't do much damage. Not my go-to. I do like glue gunners in like Bloons TD 4 or 5. The ones I played a lot more before this game. I love the glue gunner and the corrosive glue and all that stuff. That was really cool. But in this one, they're very powerful. They're very, very good at support. As you can see, you know, the Moabs are getting slowed down significantly. So, that's nice. I will be going for the engineer soon. But I do want to see if I can get past 63 first, of course. But, you know, gauging by the actual length of the video, I'm sure you can figure out that I do. But he does it too without his ability, which is nice. I think I use it towards the end of the round to see if I can get all 3 waves, just like that. As you can see, it flew through and it hit that 3rd wave that spawned. It's powerful. Definitely a close call right there, but that glue gun and it comes in clutch. And now we're going to start getting huge swarms of Moabs coming in at once. Going to start going for our glue storm. I've also never really been too experienced with the Moab barrage missile ability before this. So I always thought it kind of just launched 10 missiles at Moabs. I didn't realize that it actually launches 10 missiles at a set number of Moabs all at once. I thought it was 10 missiles in general. I didn't realize it was 10 missiles on like 10 or 15 or whatever Moabs at once. That is very powerful. I don't think I really realized the exact number. Maybe I'll figure it out while I'm rewatching this video and commentating on it. But as you can see, they are starting to get further, per se. But it's not really a challenge. He's got too many weapons, too much splash damage. It's just... it's getting a little bit scary, I guess. But it's... as soon as they get hit with glue, it's like, where are they going to go? So I got all my monkey farms going. I got basically where I'm going to leave it off. I don't see a point in going Monkey Wall Street. It's basically useless in a challenge like this. You're already making more than enough money. If I really wanted to, I could have just sold all the farms at this point and upgraded Churchill and did all that stuff pretty well. But not really worth. Didn't really want to overpower him early. Didn't really make sense to do something like that. But you can see that while he's targeting the Moabs, the regen blocker is actually pretty useful right there. Otherwise, they would have gone back into ceramics. It would have been an issue. But it's also, again, it's another way to buff. And the same thing with the glue storm. You can see that the glue storm really did save me there. Gluing through all the layers, slowing them all down, and letting them take extra damage definitely helps. But now I'm going for my regrow blockers because I saw that during that round it kind of caught up to me a little bit. The regrow. I could see the danger in it, so this way they can't regrow anywhere. Again, it's helping Churchill, not stealing any pops whatsoever. Just showing him how much further he can get, really. Pushing him along. But if you haven't watched the original video, without the commentary, you should. I want to see if you can guess how far I'd get. Because, to be honest, it completely surprised me how far Churchill would get in this. I did not think he was going to beat Sauda. I think Sauda got to 118 or 119, if I remember. I believe it was 118, because 119 was the... 119's 3 pads, I believe, and she couldn't get past that. But, yeah, I didn't think that he was going to get past 118. I severely underestimated Churchill. But this was definitely one of the more fun challenges, I think, that I've done on my channel so far. Just, you know, super boosting one guy, seeing how far he can get. So now we're on 71. 71's not an issue. There's really no issues with any of these rounds. It's just, again, a little bit scarier because of how much more balloons there are, but honestly his shell ability is just ridiculous. And again, I didn't really know his strengths. That shell ability has got to be the most powerful ability. It has to, besides Psy, like his scream or whatever that can erase basically a whole round. That ability's got to be the most overpowered ability. And you don't really think about it when rounds like this, but when you start getting a lot of balloons at once and they're, you know, shooting multiple lanes and the whole lanes are getting decimated, you start to appreciate it a little bit more. So it's going pretty smoothly right now. You'll see on 76 I'm probably just going to deal with that round the normal way you deal with heavy pierced rounds by using an ability. No issues yet. It's pretty straightforward. But like I saw there, he launched all those missiles at everything that was on the screen over and over. I always thought it was 10 missiles, but I think right there it was like maybe 11, 12, 13. Definitely a nice boost. Also helps that Churchill has range for days, and buffing it by 10% with the village, 10 to 15%, I forget which one it is. But definitely nice getting that range boost right there to hit almost the entire map, honestly. Now that we got our homeland defense going, we can really push his abilities now. Because if you think he's powerful just with the homeland defense, you should see it with the shell. It's ridiculous. Doing challenges like this and, you know, eventually getting your heroes maxed out kind of makes me wish that you could do something with the extra experience you get. Like, if maybe, you know, you can level him up to around level 21 with like a crap ton of experience, and you can maybe 5% boost to attack speed or something like that. Something that would, because at around 20, that's it, right? Your hero's done. Your hero's already, you know, super special, upgrading itself, and it's a clutch tower, really, on almost every playthrough, right? I just think that there should be something else you can do with the extra experience that he gets. So, this, we're just going to glue him. Regrow blocker is stopping all of them. Don't even have to use an ability. I did use an ability at the end, but wasn't necessary. The round was basically already over by the time I used it. But yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to let you maybe boost the attack speed or fire rate, maybe pierce or something like that, you know. Level 21, maybe it'll give you 3 options where you can do like a 1% attack speed, 1% damage, 1% more pierce, something like that. I think that'd be wicked cool. But I got my overclock on the field now. We're gonna save up for an ultra boost. Also in my Sauda run, I learned that the ultra boost ability got significantly lowered. It was like 108,000 or something like that the last time I remember using it. So now that it's like 77, it's just wow. I don't know if maybe, I'm assuming that they would have reduced maybe how fast it lets you attack and stuff like that. I'm assuming there was some kind of nerf to the actual ability itself, but the 77,000 to start stacking Ultra Boost is just ridiculous to me. Not to mention, when you use it, it's basically up until it has to, it's up for the entire duration of the cooldown. Or at least it seemed like. I don't know if there was a glitch or something, but I could have sworn I used it once, and it felt like it was on him permanently. Like, right now you can see that it's still on him, and I have it back. So I don't know if that's a glitch or what, but 79 would have definitely been scary if I didn't have the regrow blockers up. Since I'm hitting, you know, a couple rows over, and then he stops targeting that row, it would, those would regrow eventually into 2 rainbow balloons, I believe. But you can see the Moa Barrage 2 abilities coming in clutch. They're hitting 5 BFBs all at the same time, reducing them all to Moabs. Very nice. Now we have a challenge. We have our ZOMG. Yeah, it's just gonna get wrecked. It lost basically half its speed. Now it's stuck in its line of sight. Don't even need a homeland. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I used it or not here. But now we have the bombshell ability. The shells just wrecks everything in that row. At this time, his main attack seems to be falling off quite a bit. Doesn't really do too much damage. One of his level up abilities coming up in a couple levels, those attacks start to do one extra layer. So, not really sure how many layers they do now, but you know, like a 25, 30, 50% boost to your attack is always welcome, right? But when you homeland defense his attack, it's very powerful. It's got to be one of the strongest things just because of his attack speed. But on its own, it's definitely fallen off quite a bit. Seems like they're taking a lot more time to get popped. I know after around 80 is when their health starts to, like, I don't know if it's an exponential thing or if it's a set number, but yeah, you'll see that they start to get further and further. Definitely starts to get scary. Also, engineer up top. I just got my ultra boost. One of the things to look out for that actually stole a couple of pops from me the first time I tried to do it. If the cleansing foam ends up on the track, it can pop camos and regrows and leads. I think it pops regrows, if I remember correctly. But I know it pops camos and leads, and it decamos them and pops leads instantly. That will steal pops from you. I also learned that you can target it off the track, which is strange. I don't know any other on-track ability that can get targeted to be off-track. Can you imagine just putting Oben's Wall of Tree, or Wall of Bloon, whatever, off the track? It wouldn't even do anything at that point. So I thought that was pretty funny. I didn't actually think about that when I was playing the engineer the first time. So seeing that is definitely like perfect. It really is. It's what makes this challenge possible. Because on this map in particular, obviously, there's nowhere for you to put the engineer where it wouldn't be able to actually touch the map. So you do have to hide it behind a log. So I really wanted to see if I could squeeze in an alchemist. Alchemist has kind of the same issue. It can shoot over the logs or through the logs or whatever you want to call it. So hiding it isn't an option. It would be something that I would have to put at the very bottom of the map, just in range of Churchill. Try to buff it and try to have a monkey helicopter move it out of range. But there's really nowhere to hide the alchemist. You can't sell it because then your buff's gone. You can't put it anywhere. You could put it maybe in the back right, the bottom right corner. But anything that gets there, like a bigger balloon, like a bat or something, or even a ZOMG, is going to get hit by the alchemist, and then the run would have to get either restarted or restart the round or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think being able to alchemize him, obviously, he probably would have got much further than he does. Again, I don't want to spoil it. Definitely surprising. I don't know if... I'm sure other people have done this challenge. I don't know if they started at round 1 like I did, or if they, you know, got different challenges and pops, or different restrictions, whatever the case is. But for the rules that I set, didn't expect him to get as far as he did. Very happy that he did. I feel maybe I'll try this again with all the heroes after I do one run with all the heroes. Maybe I'll try this again and I'll allow alchemization. I'll allow Sun Temple. With the support, I don't want to get military buffs and all that. That's just, again, that's gonna steal too many pops. Doesn't make sense. Already can't avoid the Sun Temple, so if I'm gonna have to use it, I'd rather keep it as weak as possible, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't want to give it camo detection or anything like that either. Alchemist, same thing. Alchemist itself doesn't really do much damage from what I know, but if I can get him somewhere and keep him off the map with the helicopter, that'd be perfect too. Trying to think of other buffs. Energizer is another buff. I'd be using that strictly for the ability cooldown. Maybe there's another map that I'm just not thinking of. Like, I know Cubism. You can kind of keep your submarine away from all the pops, but it's the same thing. Like, I'm planning out a bomb tower challenge on Cubism, where just using bomb towers, you know, because of the fact that the cluster bombs do pop black balloons, I don't need to use a Monkey Intelligence Bureau, so that obviously increases the difficulty. If any tower I use can pop every single kind of balloon in one way or another, then I refuse to use a Monkey Village. Actually, I do have to use one for camo, but I don't have to use the Monkey Intelligence Bureau. But besides that, I have to use Etienne on that map. I decided to use Etienne. I decided to tuck him away in a corner so that at level 8 he can give them the camo detection. without taking any pops. That's how I decided to settle that. Otherwise, the village would give them also a range boost. Not really cheating, because it does give a lot of range anyway, but I wanted to make it as only bomb tower only as I could, while leaving it possible. The same way that I did the submarine, the same way that I did the snipers, where they can pop every single balloon type, so I only wanted to use them. So I figured using editing on that map would be kind of like a nice way around that, where I don't have to use a village. But I haven't been able to get to around 100 yet with that strategy, so that will be coming at some point. Just working on it now, just trying to figure things out. I also wanted to record the videos for the boss balloons, and I want to finish the Odyssey that I'm working on, which is definitely taking a lot of time and a lot of effort to try to beat. So I do have a couple things in the works, but I hope you guys stick around to look for it. But now we're getting to that point where Churchill is very high level. You know, right there, more barrage shells and main gun do massively increased damage. Right now, his shells pop 7 times. He is becoming a literal tank again. Not to keep making that same joke, but I mean, what else can you say, right? So now I maxed him out level 95, and now this is where the challenge begins, because now he's maxed. He has the 2 attack speeds. He has the homeland defense and the call to arms. He has basically everything that he's going to need. I believe he's maxed out on Ultra Boost at this point, right? He should have 10 stacks. So now he's about as strong as he possibly can get. I could put down more glue gunners, stuff like that. Don't really remember if I ended up doing that. I would assume that I did because of how many balloons pop up. But now you're seeing him at his max strength for this challenge. Again, you know, it could be alchemized, energized, all that stuff, but this is what we have to work with right now. So as soon as I use those shells, you can see that the balloons really do melt. They don't have a chance. This is when it started to get really satisfying for me. So I am putting down more glue gunners. I do give them camo because they need camo. I boost their range, I boost their pierce. Buffing my buffs, really, without taking any pops. That was the plan. I did restrict primary training, primary expertise. I didn't, I'm sorry. It should be primary expertise, right? The one where it can actually attack. I restricted that so that it doesn't steal any pops. I tried my best to block off everything that could get any pops. Again, I forgot about the glue gunner, but I didn't end up using it anyway. So, gonna get my villages back. Really raking up lives. I'm at 890 right now. So the base model marketplaces, the 003, they generate 1 life per round. If you didn't know with Monkey Knowledge. The marketplace, the 004, starts to generate 3, and the Monkey Wall Street also generates 3, I believe. But the biggest thing is once you get to 1,000 lives, anything that will generate you lives, whether it's the 040 helicopter that drops the crate, the druid that will generate lives with the druid of the forest path, stuff like that, only gives you 1 life instead of, you know, the 25, or in this case the 3. So, after I get 1,000 lives, they will be generating 6 lives a round, which is very nice. But, as you can see, Churchill is making quick work of this bad. Yeah, he's just destroying it. That's without homeland defense for those ZOMGs. But if you combine the shells with homeland defense and ultra boost, it just absolutely destroys anything and everything. But I was very happy to see that he could beat the bad. Obviously, the bad is probably your first real challenge when you have somebody who has a lot of pierce, because you don't need pierce, you need just straight damage. So it's good to know that Churchill's packing pierce and damage and attack speed and really range and all around everything. But as you can see, they are starting to get further. DDT is not the easiest thing for him to deal with at the moment. Once you use, you know, more barrage, it just takes them all out. It's nice. I probably could have waited on that ability to try to get the whole round, but once you start using that ability, you can see that it melts them too. Yeah, just like that. More barrage. So really, it's just going to become a spam fest of abilities, ultra boost, anything that I do have when it does become available. But honestly, I was kind of on the edge of my seat with these rounds because DDTs, fortified DDTs, if you didn't know as well, the higher you get in rounds, the faster the balloons actually move. I've done challenges like in the past, just casually before I was, you know, uploading to YouTube, where I would put perma spikes down and stuff like that, and DDTs actually move so quickly they move over the permaspike. The permaspike stack will still be there, but the DDTs will get by and they'll drain your lives. It's ridiculous how fast they can move. But if you have a keen eye, you'll notice that the balloons do start to move faster too at some point. Definitely, obviously, ups the challenge with exponential health gain, lots of fortifications, movement speed, more health, everything. It's just, they really do start to get ridiculous. And again, the only one doing damage here is Churchill. Just an absolute unit. Yep. So glue storm right there just to slow everything down, make sure that everything can get glued. Again, it will slow everything, every balloon on the map down. And then the relentless glue gunners can glue over the yellow glue to actually slow them down to get them to the glue that I want them to have. Also, if you notice, we passed 1,000 lives, so you'll see that I'll only be at 1,008. Instead of what I should have been at about 1,020, I believe. But DDTs really are the issue. If I don't have the ability, they kind of just fly by me. So in this case, I kind of had to use Ultra Boost, I had to use Homeland Defense, I had to use the Shell ability, just to keep, you know, the DDTs on around 106. And considering I'm trying to go for 140, and they're getting this far on 106, definitely scary. But I do have a Call to Arms and a Homeland Defense. Call to Arms, 50% attack speed bonus, 50% damage bonus, so it's still very useful. Homeland Defense, if you didn't know, is double attack speed, double damage, so it's like a 4 times damage boost, really, compared to a 2.25 damage boost. Very powerful. So it's one of those things, too, where you kind of have to time your abilities correctly, too, because you want to be without it. This is challenge editor again, so if any issues do arise, I will retry, but I don't really think that's going to be an issue for a really long time. But ZOMGs, fortified ZOMGs at 108 can't even make it past the first bend when I'm using my abilities, which is ridiculous. I set myself up with a second Call to Arms, just for the off cooldown. If you have 3 of them, you can basically cycle them so that you'll never be at regular attack speed and damage. Definitely a nice little trick there. The same thing with the Ultra Boost. You really could put an overclock down as well, just to keep up the boost, but kind of useless at that point. But now I'm at that point where I'm just spamming the barrage ability, I'm spamming the shell ability, I'm gonna keep the attack speed and damage boost going, and you can see it's just absolutely melting. Like, you wouldn't think that Churchill would be this strong by himself, but there it is. It's honestly ridiculous how strong he is. Like, I thought Sauda was powerful, and she is. She's very powerful. But Churchill just blows it completely out of the water. Like, there's no contest. Like, I pushed Sauda as far as she could possibly go, and when you get to 3 bads, it's just not possible for her to beat them. At least not without Alchemist boost and all that stuff, which I'll probably give that a shot again. But yeah, it's funny because I think that 120 and up, Sauda probably could have gotten past, but I had to stop it at 119 because I was doing it in an actual run, an actual map where I would, I got to around 80 whatever, and I got monkey money because of it. Didn't really think I had to do it in challenge editor. Maybe I'll do it again, and I'll just try to see if I can push her a little bit further somehow. But again, you can see the abilities, fortified ZOMGs, they're not going anywhere. Crazy. And that ability cools down relatively quickly, so. So we got the Ultra Boost going again. It's not too bad. They are obviously getting further, but when you actually look at the size of logs they're really getting, just over halfway, which that's not an issue considering they're going to be in Churchill's range for basically the entire part of the map going back. Definitely a nice touch here. If you guys made it this far and you enjoy the voiceovers and kind of getting into my head about why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I look at the game and stuff like that, if that kind of stuff interests you, you're more than welcome to subscribe, be feedback, comments, whatever you feel is necessary. I do appreciate feedback, you know, if maybe the voiceover isn't as nice as you would want it to be, or the content, or if you think I should try a different challenge, different map, different strategies, whatever you have in mind, I'm always open to it. I do like playing challenge runs. I'm also actually working on a solo Pokemon run that I've been wanting to do for a while. I do play a lot of Pokemon emulators and stuff like that, so I'm doing it right off my phone. Right now I'm trying to see if I can beat Pokemon Black with just Hitmonlee. Going pretty well. Definitely think it's going to be an interesting run. Just gonna have to figure out, you know, when I finish it, the editing, how to get, because obviously I'm not going to upload like a 6-hour Pokemon speedrun, solo run kind of thing. That's ridiculous. People aren't going to watch that, right? So I need to look over the footage when I'm done and try to edit it and try to, you know, keep the highlights in while talking about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, strategy, stuff like that. Definitely watch a lot of those kind of videos. Cool stuff. If you've never seen it before, hopefully you watch mine, you enjoy it, and it's something that you get into. A lot of cool creators out there doing that kind of thing. So I do have a lot of stuff planned. I want to get into longer style videos like this. I want to work on the voiceovers, work on getting better mics, better setup, stuff like that. I do want to take this more seriously, so you know, I need support to do that. I'm actually very happy with how the channel is going so far. I believe at the time of this video I'm at 31 and just starting over a week ago, so not really sure if that's good, or you know, if there's things I could be doing better. I'm sure, but very happy with the progress so far and the consistency. I plan on keeping it up. I want to post basically as many videos as I can. I want to you know, try to work my real life schedule around this stuff so that I can be more consistent with the videos, upload specific times, specific days, stuff like that, so it's stuff that people can come back to and they'll know, oh, you know, TD Gaming has another video, I want to check that out. So definitely want to grow the channel, want to grow it into some kind of future career or a job or whatever. But right now it's a hobby that I really do enjoy doing. I do play these games quite a bit, so I thought it'd be fun to start a channel, post on it, you know, try to get other similar like-minded people into it, make it like a community thing. So I've also been thinking about maybe getting into speedruns of my favorite games. Really, I want this channel to be kind of like an all-around thing, but I want it to be enjoyable all-around content. I don't want to post, you know, a speed run of Pokemon and then the next day I'm playing a long through of, I don't even know, Tales of Symphonia, which is like a 40-hour game. Crazy. But I want to keep up the consistency. I want to keep up the types of videos I'm doing. I personally am very proud whenever I get these voiceover videos done, because it's a lot more work to be done. So getting it done, you know, seeing the views are higher in videos like this definitely inspires me to want to do more, do better for you guys, for anyone that's following. Hope you guys enjoy this type of content. And again, like I mentioned earlier, love feedback. I definitely want to see what I can do better. Especially as somebody starting out, my audience is the most important thing. And what you guys think in the context that you see it in, very important to me. So I would greatly appreciate it if you guys left some kind of feedback. If, you know, tell me what kind of challenge you'd want to see me do next, how to do it. I don't care what it is. You know, it could be another solo hero. I did get a recommendation to do Geraldo. This is a newer account for me, Bloons wise. So I do have to get I have to work up the monkey money to buy Geraldo again. I had it on my previous account. I actually had like all the easy maps fully completed, 100%, blackboarded, a lot of the intermediates. I got really into it. But I had to make a new account when I got a new phone. So here I am. I actually looked forward to starting again from scratch anyway, so no use crying over it. But as you can see, guys, that's enough rambling for me for now. Round 116, it looks exactly the same as the last 115 rounds. Just flying right through it, honestly. It's like they start to get somewhere, but then when you're using the shell ability and it starts hitting cross paths and hits multiple 2, 3, 4 paths at a time, it's crazy, honestly. It's too powerful. But I definitely want to try this again. I think Churchill is cool. Definitely would try this with an alchemist buff, because I really want to stretch out how far he can go. Again, I don't want to spoil the round he actually gets to. That's kind of part of the fun, right? Is a little bit of the attention in there, trying to see how far you can get. So I would definitely alchemize him. I would definitely energizer him just so the ability cooldown. Honestly, if we're really trying to buff him, I might put a what is it? The floating ability, the floating on water. I believe it's the raft, if I remember correctly. Definitely. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the pontoon. I would put the pontoon on the water in this map, just so that he gets the additional ability cooldown and stuff like that from the energizer. If you really want to take it seriously, I'd probably alchemize them and then move the alchemizer somewhere in a corner. Same thing with the monkey helicopter that I'd have to use to buff him and then move him out of range and then just sell it. But Perma-Brew gets a huge range boost now too, which is new to me. So he'll obviously have some part of the track open. This round, I was absolutely worried for. 3 bads, using just Churchill. But you can see, like right there, for example, the shell ability, the shattering shell ability, is hitting both of them at the same time. Especially on like angles like this and like that. So timing of the ability is very crucial here, because you need to hit as many bads as you can. But you can see that I got that second one damaged quite a bit, considering he's only targeting the first one. So, gonna hit him with an ultra boost just to get that attack speed. I did wait for the homeland defense just to really maximize it, but you can see how much damage it's doing. And now again, it's gonna shoot through 2 of these guys to weaken them both at the same time, which is nice. Now he's still targeting on that guy. He's gonna turn. He's gonna hit 2 of them again. That should be pop. Yep, there it is, right there. Now we're gonna get rid of all these. Very, very close round. And now that bad's on its way out. Homeland defense is going to start targeting the last one, which is perfect. Now that should go down any second. Right about now. Oh, guess I was wrong. Definitely scary seeing how far they get. Even knowing that I get past this, it's still scary watching it, because I'm like, oh my god. Now we're going to use the shell ability again. I did want to wait for the bad to get in front so that it would tank some of that damage too. But use the call to arms again. DDTs are the biggest issue here. Yep, as you can see, I did lose. It's very scary. But we are a challenge editor, so timing of my abilities and all that stuff is a factor. But luckily I'm able to restart the round. My abilities are exactly where they were at. Try this round again. This is the round that Sauda could not pass, by the way. This is the one that I believe she popped maybe the first one, if I remember correctly, but the other 2 barely had damage on them, so I'm trying to time my abilities better. I'm trying to do whatever I can, use them more consistently. Right there, it's called arms on both of them. Should get extra damage. Barrage, same thing. Not really sure if abilities get double the damage. But as you can see, it's going very well. He's about to pop sooner. Just like that. Use another more barrage. This would be the time to use the barrage ability, just like that. Shattering shells. That one should get down a little bit sooner than it did last time. And then we'll use the barrage as soon as it pops. Same thing with the DDTs. Try it again. I was very adamant here that I believed that I could get by the rounds. Because you could see that it's possible. It's not that I'm not really having an issue popping the bads per se. Like, obviously they have a lot of health and it's a solo challenge, right? Glue gunners actually aren't doing anything for the bad. It's definitely a timing of ability issue here that just could not, for a little while anyway, could not get by. Just like that. So now it's really about timing them and making sure that they can hit multiple bads at once. Just like that, you know. That one's gonna pop pretty soon. Got the ultra boost on them just for the extra damage. I'm gonna use the ability as soon as I get it. Just like that. I believe this one's going a lot worse than the other one did. Yeah, and that's gonna be same issue. Yeah, so it's really starting to not look good here. Definitely not easy. It's a hard round. It is. It's ridiculous to think about how 120 and up to an extent is easier than this round. It's funny how that works. Having the same issues. I'm starting to get the feeling of it, the hanging, where you see how that one has significantly less health already. Hopefully it pops a little bit sooner. It does. Now we use the barrage. Surprisingly, I'm not really changing my targeting around and stuff like that. But you can see this one has significantly less health and much sooner. The other one popped right at the end. And that last Moab, that last bad has significantly less health too. Right there. I don't even know really what happened there. I was shocked. I believe I popped the DDTs and it was just the ceramics I got through. So those monkey farms definitely saved me there. There's no way around it. The farming of lives completely saved me there. But it does count. It's the same thing. Every other hero and tower that I do is going to have the same rule set applied to it. So now the monkey farms are going to start generating 3 lives each. The monkey Wall Street, same thing. I believe it's 3. I don't know why something's telling me it's 10, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 lives. I guess we'll find out in about a couple seconds here. Not bad. Definitely taking a little bit longer than I remember. Yeah, oh, it is 10 lives. Wow. $121, it's rinse and repeat, guys. Same thing. It seems like it's getting harder. It doesn't, but at the same time, it's really not. Like, that round ended a lot sooner than 120 did. And it's interesting. It kind of seems like they're just kind of stacking Moabs and stuff on top of each other, but it's not really a big issue. Especially when he's all about Pierce right now. He's high damage, obviously, but that ability pops through, like, a whole bunch of Moabs and balloons and all that at the same time, so... Now we're going to use our ability with the Call to Arms, or Home and Defense, and it's just, boom, Moabs are all dead. The ones that are crossing over the ZOMG in the background are all just popping. Not even peeking out at all. Now they are, but that's because the ability ended. But more barrage. Hit a whole bunch of them at once. Very nice. Probably going to use a Homeland Defense again, if I remember correctly, after the Ultra Boost. Guess not. Another more barrage, and then the shells. Hopefully this ends up being a better format that you guys enjoy. That would, you know, hopefully give you guys to return and watch the next one and the next one. I know the game volume for this one is a little bit low. Before I was doing voiceovers, I was kind of recording the gameplay and the voiceover at the same time. So sometimes the game volume would spike while the voice dropped, and sometimes the voice volume would be higher while the game volume dropped. I'm not really sure what caused that. I'm sure, you know, the microphone has a little trouble recording all that stuff at once. So hopefully it's a better format, but the game volume was lower so that I could talk into it without the game volume completely overshadowing my voice. I'm trying to be a little bit more adamant about the next couple of videos, the ones that I have recorded, with the game volume being a little bit higher because I did find out I can just adjust the game volume overall through the recorded video itself. So that's the plan from now on. But in the meantime, this game volume, I'm sure, is a little bit lower, so I do apologize for that. So now we're on 125. Again, they're not really getting too difficult. It's kind of just rinse and repeat at this point. Don't really think it's an issue per se, but the only thing with the higher rounds is they do get a little bit boring because it's the same thing, right? It's just me pressing the same abilities, doing all that. Really, I should have put a tech bot on him, I think. Maybe 3 tech bots, but I don't really like to use... I do like the tech bot, I do like the monkey farmer. That's really the only abilities I'll use. Not abilities, I apologize. The only powers I'll use. Just for, you know, the convenience of it. So again, it's just rinse and repeat, you know, DDT's this, DDT's that, you know, wait for as many to spawn as I can, and then rip the ability so I can pop all of them at once. Just like that. Very satisfying though, to be honest. Like, that's satisfying. Especially DDTs, I hate DDTs. It took forever when I was originally playing the game, and DDTs are like a new thing. It takes forever to figure out what can pop those things. Wait, I don't really know. Does it even tell you that they're camo, lead, and explosive resistant? Because I didn't know. I thought the only way to pop them was Monkey Intelligence Bureau, but it's good to know that magic and stuff like that can pop them. But 128, same thing, same deal. DDTs everywhere. Pop the ability, pop as many as you can at once. Ultra boost, whatever you gotta do. Slowed it down right there because it was getting scary. And again, I lost at 128. But we're in Challenger, we can just retry, we can try to edit our strategy. To me, it doesn't really make sense doing this in a regular run. If you fail, like I just did, then you gotta continue with Monkey Money and don't really want to waste that or to unlock everything else. But no point in wasting Monkey Money. It also gives you extra money, which, and this, you know, at this round doesn't really make a difference. But so what I just did there, one issue that I was having was that my Homeland Defense was on cooldown and I wasn't getting it in time. So what I did is I sold it, upgraded the Call to Arms to Homeland Defense for a much shorter cooldown, and then I just bought another Call to Arms just to replace it. So that's why that was possible. That was, you know, another strategy that I've been holding on to just in case. A lot of people do that with like Submarine with First Strike. You can do the same thing. Use the ability, sell it, put down another First Strike, and then, you know, use the missile, and you can deal damage much quicker that way. Probably a little bit cheap, but the idea is to see how far he can get while getting all pops, so it's still in the spirit of the challenge. But now we're on 129. It's the same thing. It's just DDTs, ZOMGs, Fortified. It's getting harder, but it's not hard. Obviously, you know, 119 was an issue, 128 was an issue. They do sprinkle in. It's interesting that they sprinkle in these random hard rounds, and then they put quite easier rounds later. I would think, because honestly, if 128 is this crap ton of DDTs, put 129, add like 15 more DDTs, and it's harder, right? But I guess if they did that, this probably wouldn't go as far as it did. But like I said too, Sauda got to 119. She lost on 119. She just could not beat them. So far, we're on 129. Not seeing too many issues. The only issues, it seems like, is not knowing when to use what ability, and you kind of have to do a little bit of trial and error. It wouldn't be fair if I said that Churchill could only get to, you know, 119 because of my ability. So I think getting a retries and being able to really plan it out instead is useful. It's necessary, I think, to give it like a fair judge. If I didn't know better, it's not really fair. It's like if I didn't know, I don't know, if I didn't know Dart Monkeys could pop lead with Crossbow Master, or, you know, any ability really, and I was like, well, it's impossible to beat round 28 with the Dart Monkey, not knowing that I could just get a Juggernaut. It's kind of, can't really let your own personal ability get in the way of how far it can go, especially on your first try when you're trying to figure out how he works. I'm not that experienced with Churchill. I feel like, I'm much more experienced now after this challenge, but like I wouldn't have known that he can't pop black balloons before he gets the machine gun. I wouldn't have known that he even gets a machine gun until I used him in the challenge, because I just didn't use him. But you live and you learn when it comes to stuff like this, so. Definitely doing well so far. But as you can see, it's basically just the same rounds over and over and over. Same challenges, same difficulties. Yeah, 131. Easy enough. I apologize if you can hear bells or something like that in the background. Those are my cats. They make a lot of noise for some reason when I'm trying to record a video. But so far, 132 is very nice. Things are definitely going well so far. A lot of ZOMGs, they just kind of stacking more and more and more. And it's crazy thinking that they get like a pretty sizable health boost at this point compared to around 80, and they're still going down really quick. The glue gunner strategy is still doing its work. It feels like they're really not getting more health. I don't know if they max out somewhere and they just start getting a speed boost, or I know the ceramics also get more and more health too, which is, ceramics are very interesting too for what they are. Mini Moabs, really. Yep, so they're definitely starting to get further. They're starting to stay healthier too, getting to these points. But still, it's, you think about it, they're like, oh, okay, they're at that back corner, that's not good. But it's also only the halfway point of the map. They still have to go through 3 more rows of Churchill attacking them, which it looks like they're getting further, but it's really, at this point, it's ability management. You use that ability, they're not going anywhere. So. Yeah, it's going nice. Moabs, though, getting a lot further than they should for what they are. 133, it's just all fortified, it looks like. Not anymore. Yeah, it's just a ridiculous amount of balloons. Like, you would think that, when you're playing 2 around 100, which is what I normally do, for daily challenges or anything else I do, just for the Insta-Monkey and stuff, but you would think, oh, wow, 98's ridiculous, it's a crazy round, it's very difficult, and it is, but then you get to rounds like this, and you're like, wow, 98's a joke compared to stuff like this. I'm also thinking, maybe for a future video, I think it would be cool maybe if I could, I do have another phone, I have like a backup phone for like, when my original phone that had my original Bloons Tower Defense account on it, it was having an issue with the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and stuff like that, so one of the jobs I do requires Bluetooth on your phone, which is weird, but wasn't working, couldn't do it, needed like a temporary phone, so my girlfriend lent me her phone, her backup phone really. I do have Bloons Tower Defense on that phone as well. So I could do maybe like a co-op thing, or try to get another phone and try to get 4 phones really, to maybe do a 4 hero run and buff all 4 of them at the same time using these kind of buffs, maybe to see how far they could get as a team. That would be cool. I mean, I could only imagine like 4 Churchills or something, or 4 Saudas. That would be a cool idea. Something like that I might try to do in the future too. How far can 4 Churchills go? 4 these, 4 that. That would be a cool idea. Also, obviously, the obvious buffs of having 4 heroes, 4 separate heroes would be nice. Don't really know. Maybe I would just do 4 Churchills at that point, right? Because 4 Etines, 4 UAVs would be cool, but not necessary. Alright, never done a voiceover this long, but 135, you can see it's the same issue that I've been having the whole time. Fortified EDTs, just ridiculous. You don't really deal enough damage to them without the abilities to pop them, which is crazy considering he's focused on them the whole time. But it's going pretty good so far. There you go. The EDT is gone, now it's just the fortified ZOMGs, just like every other round. And if you guys have been paying attention to the lives at all, back at basically 500 lives, those farms really do come in clutch. 418,000. Crazy. Spam glue gunners everywhere, but no point. Haven't also had to use a glue storm. Glue storm I don't think affects Moabs, which is unfortunate, otherwise it'd be very powerful. Basically, this is running the same rounds that I have been this whole time, spamming the abilities when I get them, doing my best. Having the same exact round that I've been having this whole time. It's really just a whole bunch of rinse and repeats for these rounds. Also kind of why I played to 100. Everything after that just takes... You'll get to around 100 in like 25 minutes, and then you can see like from this video alone, I'm at 136 and the video is 1 hour and 6 minutes long so far. Which is crazy. 25 minutes to get to 100, and to get 36 more rounds in, it took 40 more minutes. 40 minutes. That's crazy. They really do buff out these rounds. I would definitely be interested too, and I would want to see how far the Paragons go. I don't think I've ever used the Wizard Paragon yet, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. But I think it'd be cool to not start... I would start it at round 1. I would, for like the Dart Monkey, I would only use Dart Monkeys. I would farm. I would try to get him to that point. Try to get him to as high of a level as possible. Again, it's not something that I don't want to go into challenger mode, give myself $10 million, and then spam Dart Monkeys. I want to do it all naturally from round 1, because that's at that point you can replicate it. It's strategy. It's more interesting. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit boring at... If I started at round 1 with the Paragon, it's going to be very boring up until like round 140 when there's a challenge, right? So, starting from round 1, working with Dart Monkeys, working with Boomerangs, Engineers, Monkey Ace, Wizard, Ninja. I feel like there's one more that I can't think of. But working their way up to a Paragon as quickly as possible, as farming as aggressively as possible would be cool. 138, as you can see, this is basically the bane of Churchill's existence. This is the only thing I have trouble with is fortified EDTs, and they're just non-stop coming out. So I'm thinking, okay, got to use my abilities better, got to spam the barrage, the ultra boost. I got to wait till there's more of them on screen so that there's more collateral damage. I'm popping more at once, right? It's just, but honestly, by the time they get through, they're still spawning, which is ridiculous. I actually let muscle memory get to the best of me here. I restarted. That hurt my soul. But the video is not over yet. I decided to go into Challenge Editor. I tried to replicate it to the best of my memory, which, looking at it, it looks slightly different, but I don't think any of it's going to be an issue. I redid 137 because I wanted my abilities to be more accurate. Obviously, I don't know what my abilities exactly were, but I figured if I used them this round, whatever they were left at for 138, I could, kind of mimic it the best that I could, so that I can try to actually make another attempt while being able to restart and stuff. You'll see how that goes, I guess. This round, it's funny, I actually leaked balloons on 137, which I didn't do on my original playthrough, but obviously I don't care. I got near infinite lives. I don't really care about this round leaking. I already beat the round. I didn't lose on 137 originally, so whatever. I lose lives. The whole point of it was to try to get my abilities to be on some kind of cooldown so that I can mimic round 138. The abilities do continue to cool down while I'm trying to change the round. That's very annoying. It kind of just undid it. Right now they're all cooled down, so it is what it is. So here I am trying to beat 138 again. 138's very ridiculous. That's honestly got to be one of the hardest rounds, right? Especially for a solo run. I honestly can't even think. I tried to buy a new Homeland Defense, but the cooldown's a little goofed up, as you can see. Yeah, there is absolutely zero chance of Churchill beating 138, and I figured that out right now. So I was curious. I play these challenges to 140 ideally, so I was like, okay, so what about the next round? 139, crap ton of Moabs. Who would have thought? This is actually, I thought this was pretty funny. The idea of DDT spam, and then the next round it's just pure Moab spam. I thought this was a funny round to, play the first time I saw it. Yeah, so 139, it's just all Moabs. Nothing too serious, right? Not really an issue. I thought that was hilarious. And I was like, okay, 139. The ideal challenge would be 140, so I wanted to try 140. I should have done this with Sauda. 119 was impossible for Sauda. I should have jumped to 120 in Challenger Editor, and I should have tried from there. But anyway, I wanted to see around 140. Can I do it? Is it possible? Obviously, wasn't really having too much of an issue with bads. I did manage to beat the three bad balloons, but you can see right here, it's halfway through, not even any ticks of damage. Should be one soon right there. But as you can see, this just, like, looking at it, I'm using my abilities, I'm spamming them, I'm using them as much as possible, as often as possible. No way is this possible, man. There's not a chance. Honestly, I don't even think Alchemist, Energizer, Sun Temple, don't even think those would have made a difference. The buffs, the Sun Temple attacking, probably would have made a difference, right? But I believe I do give this one more shot. Yeah, I think this next time, I think I set him to last. Yeah, I set him to last. I'm curious. I'm like, okay, fortified bad, completely out of the question. There's no way Churchill's popping that thing. But I was curious to see if I could pop a bad on 140, so that is the last thing that I will be doing. I don't really know what else I could have done, just challenge-wise, to buff him without anybody stealing pops. Honestly, the Alchemist really wouldn't have done that much damage to these guys. I could have put him down and perma-brewed him, but again, it's the spirit of the challenge. Just wanted to see if I could pop the bad. Not the fortified, just the regular bad. The fortified I gave up on. There's no chance. But I honestly don't remember how close I got. But you'll see the ending here. But in the meantime, guys, if you made it this far, or even if you watched a partial part of the video, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the subscribers that I'm getting. Feels like it's daily, but I hope you guys stay tuned. I hope you guys comment.